Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Gong Studio Batman Hush collectible action figure. A lot of you guys asked me to review this, and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do it. I don't like the soft goods. I'm not a soft goods fan unless it's just a cape. And even then, most of the time, they're not very well done, and it's just not my thing. But then I thought to myself, reviews are my thing. And you guys want it, so I'll do it. I'll get one. And I also got Superman to go with it, which will be in a separate video where I'm just throwing it in the garbage because it's Superman and it's like a funny joke. No, I'm not going to do that. But this Batman is the one you guys wanted me to review. Some people, many people in fact, have told me, best Batman figure ever at this scale. Well, we'll see. I will set aside for this review my biases of soft goods. However, you will see in this review the evidence for those biases, the reason I have those beliefs. But let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, before we look at the figure, I do want to show you the package. Here we have the maybe front. I think it's the front of the package. I'm pretty sure it's the front of the package. Looks pretty nice. Not super displayable because there's no window and the artwork is just like, you know, super simple. But it looks nice. That's fine. The side, not anything there you want. This side, I like this side. I think this is cool. It's a cool motif right there. And then the back with the window. That's maybe the first. I want to say I've seen it before, but it's still a strange call. So let me ask you guys, how do you like the window on the back? You can't display it. So I really don't see the point in adding this cost in the packaging. That's so weird. Like, just so that you can see it, you can look at the back and be like, yep, the figure's in there. That's a really weird call, if you ask me. And you inbox collectors, let me know how you feel about that. That's a weird one. Alright, there's the packaging. It's fine otherwise. Alright, here is this figure. He is in stock at Big Bad Toy Store at the time of filming, so if you want to get one, I'll put a link in the description below. He stands to the top of his head about 6 7/8, almost exactly, like really close. I mean, you could adjust his body to make it work, probably 7 inches to the top of the ears. And that's going to make him just about, I'll call it 17.4 to the top of the head and closer to like 17.7 to the top of the ears. Here he is up against Darwin. He's a little big. Is he supposed to be that big? Did I miss something? I thought he was 1/12 scale. I'm pretty sure something somewhere said 1/12 scale. Is it not that? Is it that? I'm going to have to check and put a note. I thought it was supposed to be 1/12 scale. He's too big if it's 1/12 scale. And honestly, if he's not 1/12 scale, if it's 1/10, he's probably too small. So yeah, we'll just set that aside. You guys can decide if you like the scaling or not. Once you pose him, he's not that big that it would be a problem to be in 1/12 scale, really, I guess. But okay, let's do a question of the day. Soft goods, no soft goods, just for capes. Sometimes if they look good, never. Like, how do you feel about soft goods? For me, it's like I really don't want to collect soft goods figures. I don't like the mixed media. I don't like soft goods here, plastic here, plastic here, plastic here, but never nowhere else. I don't like the way it looks. It looks more like a toy to me than a toy because something that's purely sculpted looks like a sculpture of that thing. This looks like it's trying to be something it's not. That's just the way I feel. Because the clothing never looks good enough. Even on hot toys, I don't like the look of soft goods. The best soft goods to me are still not right at scale. So that's just my personal preference. Now for the figure, I think this is probably, we're going to do like a general talk before we get into the meat and taters. Probably, I think easily, but I'll say probably because I'm not familiar with every single thing Mezco's put out. Probably the best soft goods covered 1/12 scale-ish Batman figure, for sure. Like, I've had a few of the Mezco Batmans just to see, and I think my buddy Alfonso sent me one at one point. That was a long time ago now. I've handled some of them, and I've seen all of them online. This, to me, looks the best, by far. And the material is nice. It is a spandexy, stretchy material, but as you can see, at scale, it looks like a sweater. It's hard to not do that, because you can't make threads infinitely small. And because this guy is so tiny, you need to do that basically to make it look right. So yeah, it still looks like a sweater, or at least a sock, or something with a heavier knit, heavier weave. So there's that issue. That's not a subjective thing. It does look wrong because of the scale. That's my main thing against soft goods, but it is a factual statement. The sculpted parts are nice. I think the head on this guy is probably the most accurate Hush Batman head we've seen. Mafex isn't even close. Like, it's fine for their styling, but it's not even close. And we're not even going to get into Todd. So yeah, it looks good for what it is for sure. Maybe we'll leave it a little bit brighter. What do we think? I think we'll leave it like that. Okay, so that the bat is on there nicely. It is off center on mine, and I cannot get it to shift over and stay. So that's very frustrating. The belt is sculpted nicely and painted nicely, but like I said, it's off-putting to me because of the difference in media. But also, the way it sits on the figure, I have to keep pulling it down. And the way his body is made, it keeps pulling his tiny trunks down like he has permanent plumber butt. Which, like, you're not going to see that most of the time, but the way his trunks fit over his cake, which we're not rating because it's not a McFarlane figure, it ends up looking weird that I have to keep adjusting the belt. And, like, I can fix it, obviously. It looks okay when I fix it, but then he always ends up with plumber butt. So, or like one of those, well, I'm not going to get into it. It looks bad. So we have that. And then we have the overall silhouette. Well, first I'll say this. The hands are sculpted nicely. The paint is great. They're shading throughout. The hands and boots look pretty good other than the legs being a little bit really, really skinny down here. Ankles should be skinny, but the rest of the leg could have a little bit more meat. But then we also have to talk about the paint before I get to the rest of the stuff. I don't like that they shaded the ears black. It looks like his head's been burnt. In most of the panels for Hush Batman, his ears are not black on the outside. Sometimes like the inside of the back one is shaded black, but his ears being permanently burnt black is definitely not the best look. But the face is painted nicely otherwise. Looks really, really good. Okay, now let's get into the bigger thing that I was trying to get into a second ago. The silhouette is almost good. It's almost good, but apparently people are having a hard time with Hush Batman. Because the LPZZ one that's coming out, which I'm hoping is like the best non-clothed figure of Batman, it has that tiny, tiny chest, and they try to excuse it saying it's supposed to be that way, we need it for articulation, all these other reasons, which are all made up BS. And this one has the biggest chest. This guy has humongous chest. This guy has, who is it, Rob Liefeld's Captain America? Is that the one? It's, goodness gracious, his chest is huge. It's like they gave him all chest and thighs and pretty much nothing else. He's a little weird looking as a result of that, but honestly, the biggest problem, he has the same problem that a lot of Marvel Legends have, which is his shoulders are too far forward. And so with that big chest and the forward shoulders, he looks kind of strange at an angle. It makes him look really, really awkward. So that's pretty strange to me. It's pretty unfortunate. They did sculpt muscles, obviously, but you can't really see the detail, the definition. Like, they have them in there. You can feel it. You can see a little bit on the shoulders. You can see the articulation really bad, though. And here's the thing, like, if you're sculpting a body to go under clothing, you have to do it in a way that makes it look like a body under clothing as much as you can. So the elbows, I'll forgive. You can see the joints in there. At least they added enough material and it's stretchy and thin enough that it's not the worst thing ever. But they did things like this, where you have this really sharp, jutting out piece of plastic. That's not how you do it if you're putting clothing on a figure. Because it looks bad. It makes it look worse. You don't want to articulate it as a result. And then they also did things like there's a sculpted lip on the top of the bicep. I don't know how well you can see it. I guess you can. There's a sculpted lip up there. That makes it stand out more. It should just be a regular bicep like this with no lip on it, and that would be hidden under the clothing more. So for me, this is like, it's showing off in the worst way the problems of having cloth on top of sculpted bodies. They didn't bother to try to hide the thigh swivel under the clothing either. You just have a big line across the top of the thighs. You could have pulled a Bandai easily and brought the thigh up so that there's no harsh edge there. So that's really unfortunate. The knees, when you bend them, they're not as bad. But because it's trying to look more like a real person, I think it looks worse to have the gross size of a double jointed knee under clothing. That's a personal thing. But then, well, we'll get to it in the Uh-oh. He's seized up. That leg is seized up now. Wow. That one works. We'll use this one for the review. This leg is totally seized up. What the heck? And guess what? I'm not going to be able to fix it. Oh, there we go. It unseized as I did the drop down. Yeah, he has drop downs. We'll get to that. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about, because there's been some good, but overall, I'm not thrilled with this, and I'm curious if anybody's really going to be able to refute any of the points I'm pointing out. But the cape. Okay, so there's two things about the cape. I love that they did what most companies aren't doing, and that's allowing us to put the cape over his freaking shoulders. You can do that, and it's nice to have that option. I like to do a little bit over like this on my Batman when I can put the cape on it, and I am just pleased as punch that they did that. That is great. They did a pleather, which I get what they're going for. It's supposed to look like leather, I guess. That would be a super heavy cape in real life, but it's nice and thin, so I don't mind it. It's not leathery on the inside. I think the cape looks nice. I wish it was a material that hung a little bit nicer and didn't take folds and creases as easily, but the cape is nice. It's wired enough to work, though mine has a big mark on it right there because I can't get out of QC hell, apparently, for my action figures. But lots of pieces of wire in there. You'll be able to use the cape. It is probably along the lines of a Mafex cape in that it is like Spawn style big. It is so much material, but it's super thin, so you can bunch it up easier, but so much material. So, like, that'll be useful for some photos for sure, some displays, but for everyone else, it's just going to be a pain in the ass most of the time to bunch up behind him. So yeah, okay, time to rate the aesthetic. I think it's fine. For a soft goods Batman, there's some definite benefits, I mean, compared to other soft goods figures, but it still suffers from tons of problems. The plastic head is the best part of the figure, not surprisingly. The sculpt underneath the clothing is bad. His diaper looks weird because his peeper bulges up here, but then his crotch goes all the way down here. It's just goofy looking in a lot of ways. He's got the thick chest, the thick thighs, and then like basically no calf muscles at all. I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10 for the aesthetic. Objectively, it has way too many problems to look good. Now you can pose a lot of that away, that's fine, but yeah, I don't see this being the best Batman figure ever. Maybe the best soft goods one. Okay, on to the accessories. We do have the regular cowled head that you already saw. You have the angrier one, that's also very nicely done, still has burnt ears. You have the unmasked one, which looks really nice. That's super high quality. That's really good, other than his ears kind of stick out too much. You have the cowl to go with that, of course. You have the Spider-Man webbing that wraps around his head. Comments incoming. You get a decent spread of hands. Those are all pretty nice. And then, of course, you get his grapnel hand with the 2 hooks, and you get 3 batarangs, which are pretty nice. Yeah, good spread of accessories, nothing crazy. 8 out of 10. No display stand. I think you should have a display stand. Is there one in the package and I missed it? I hope not. All right, let's move on to the articulation, because that is always an issue with figures with clothing on it. Look, just from me handling it, see what happened with the belt. It sticks up and he has plumber butt. His little Speedo has pulled down like a girl with muffin tops. It's not a good situation. It looks goofy. Okay, and anyway, on the articulation. Cape, very nicely wired. Love that. Wires are thin though, so be careful. But the head moves around pretty well. The neck does not move around. And it's not the best looking neck. We've seen better, but it does work nicely. Nice enough. It might be a single. No, it's a double. It's a double ball peg. It's not the best double ball peg, but it's pretty good. The shoulders, surprisingly, no butterfly joint on this figure. They opted for the giant pecs and no butterfly joint, raising the arm up out to the side. You get up to horizontal. And the ball is very big, and so there's not much you can do about this. You are going to have the stretched out clothing underneath the armpit, so it takes away a lot of the shape there. Rotating the arm up, you can get it all the way up, that's fine. The clothing does stretch nicely, so that's pretty good. You definitely can't go all the way around, of course, but it does move around pretty well. Bicep swivel, pretty loose. Looks pretty awful underneath the clothing, but it is in there. We already talked about the double jointed elbows. Decent range, just slightly better than 90. Horrible, horrible looking elbow underneath that. That is just absurd. The gloves do rotate. In fact, mine came with the glove completely spun around. So you can do that, and it's not going to mess up the clothing. Or at least it didn't on mine, so that's okay. Ball hinge wrists are ball hinge wrists. That's fine. The torso, which is arguably not the best looking thing in the world, with that rib cage right there. Let's see. He can lean back that far. So decent lean back. That's good. Leaning forward. That's pretty good too. Yeah, the torso works pretty well. It looks like they did the thing like they did for the Superman movie, the Man of Steel, where it's like silver underneath. Or maybe just glossy black. Leaning to the side works pretty well. Torso's nice. He does rotate pretty well. Yeah, the torso works pretty well. I'll take that. This belt is just the most obnoxious thing handling this figure. Yeah, that works pretty well. Both top and bottom joint. That's okay. Now for the hips, freaking drop downs. All right, good. It's not seized up anymore. So this is not drop down. This is in the up position. Drop downs and soft goods. They made this for someone, not me. Oh boy. Bringing the leg back works a little bit. It fights it a little bit because of the butt, but it does go back. Going forward, the the diaper just folds in, so that's nice. But you have this super chonkin belt that just sits on top of the leg and makes the figure look bad. You can see the gray all the way around. Why didn't they put the... Okay, so listen. I'm no soft goods expert, but if you're going to have this big fat-ass belt up above the diaper, can we make the diaper stick up a little bit higher so that it always looks like it goes up to the belt, rather than almost never? That would have been the solution. You bring this up at least 1/8 of an inch, maybe more, maybe 1/4 of an inch, because it's going to be hidden behind the belt anyway. But doing this looks like hot garbage. I don't want to see his little muffin top fat girl Speedo going on. So I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So yeah, with the drop downs, he does kick high, for sure. That's good for a clothed figure, but it looks like not good. It looks not good, and it's pretty loose. Going out to the side, it does work. Can we do both legs at once? Yeah, I'll even give him the benefit and do the drop downs. You can do pretty good splits on this guy, even with the soft goods. That's a hard thing to achieve most of the time. But you can see how hollow he is inside in order to achieve it. But yeah, the cloth is nice. It does stretch well. So you can get most of the posing done in terms of the cloth limitations. But good God, that diaper and Speedo combo, and the Speedo having the bulge up here and the crotch all the way down here looks not great. Thigh swivel being completely unhidden. It is functional, but not good looking. That is unappealing. All right, and then for the knees, like I already showed you, the knees are probably the best joint on this guy. They are the most seamless, I would say, of the clothed joints. So that's good, and they get decent range. The boots rotate a little bit. I don't know if they're really supposed to. I think they might just wiggle. The ankles are on ball pegs. I don't personally care for that. It has decent range, but they're not super stiff. Story of my life. So they're just okay. The ankle rocker range is considerably limited. And then no toe hinge. So he doesn't pose very well. He poses pretty well for a soft goods figure, but a lot of the joints look really bad. Honestly, they look really bad. This has to be one of the most infuriating things. This is almost up there for me with the Revoltech Iron Man with all those little ball hinges everywhere. Yeah, it's fine. If you're into soft goods, maybe you can't do better than this, and so you think this is great, and that's your prerogative. That's fine. If you are not into soft goods, I don't think this is going to win you over. So, articulation on this guy, I'll give him a 6 out of 10. There are the joints there that can move in most cases, but they are ugly. And the whole point of a soft goods figure, right, is to not be ugly. It's to hide the joints. That's the whole point. I guess unless you just want to pretend they're real people, I guess that could be the point. I don't know. But my assumption was it's to hide the joints because people don't want their action figures to look like action figures. But to me, it accentuates the problems. I can easier ignore the joints on a figure that's supposed to show the joints than one that's trying to hide them but makes them obvious. That's how I look at it. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to give this guy an overall rating of 6 out of 10. I think it fails at what it's trying to do in a lot of ways, partly because it's almost impossible to succeed at it at this scale. But they've done things that they didn't need to do, like the lip in the bicep, the thigh swivel here, the diaper, the huge pecs, the relatively small shoulders. It makes his arms look really fat, like he looks like the Frank Miller Batman, as opposed to the Jim Lee Hush Batman. It almost looks like Fat Batman in a lot of ways. Like, those arms look chunky, not beefy. So it's not working for me. I'm sure I'm going to piss off a lot of people, but I would love for you to articulate what I said that you disagree with and why you disagree with it. That would be much better than you just saying, oh, you just hate it. Because I don't hate it. I wanted to like it, and I do like things about it. But those forward shoulders and all those goofy things keep me from liking it personally, and as a reviewer, it's not up to snuff. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, but I'll be done there. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.